Tonight, we hear from the father of a girl who was shot in her Regina home as police announced charges in the incident. Construction finishes up on an expansion of Saskatoon's Correctional Centre. And the U of R Rams prepare for their provincial rivalry game with the U of S Huskies.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, September 17th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. 2 people have now been charged in connection with a shooting that left a Regina neighbourhood in shock and sent a young girl to hospital. Aaliyah Marco Omene has our top story.
It's been over a month since this home in Regina's Eastview neighbourhood was shot at, and the bullet holes are still visible today. The shooting seriously injured an 11-year-old girl. Now, 2 men have been charged in the incident. The girl's father, who CBC is not identifying as he fears for his family's safety, says he was asleep when the bullet shot through his home.
It's my wife and me. One hit bed frame. Second one went to our matter. Third one went over us. Then my wife, she panicked, and then she started screaming, walking around, sit down, because we don't know if it's still going to shoot. And then to my daughter's room, just one.
For now, they're staying with a family friend. But after a long recovery, he says his daughter is already back in school.
She gets surgery in Regina with transfer by plane to Saskatoon, and then they put cheese tube in to suck the fluid. And then while the tube on, she's a little bit suffering. And then after they pull out, she started walking right away.
A good friend of the family is happy charges have been laid. His daughter played with the injured girl often.
We can't imagine how the trauma she might have been suffering till now. And the pain, the physical pain, the surgeries, they took her to the hospital in Saskatoon, and it's quite shocking, and nobody wants to have the kids going through something like that.
Police say an 18-year-old and 20-year-old face a slew of offenses. They didn't disclose the relationship between the 2 men, but believe the shooting was targeted.
I would reassure them that it is a safe neighborhood, that there aren't ongoing safety concerns, and that clearly we are still doing our best to try to ensure that we can get everything wrapped up.
Police have not confirmed who is being targeted and are still investigating. Meanwhile, the injured girl's father says his family plans to move out of the neighborhood. Aaliyah Marco Omene, CBC News, Regina.
The NDP opposition is criticizing what they say is the government's lack of control over crime. It says the province's severe crime rate is double the national average. They want the government to create more support and programs to help at-risk youth, hire more police, and get tougher on gangs and drug dealers. They also suggest creating a bail reform proposal and ensuring there are programs to rehabilitate offenders.
One thing that over the last 17 years the Sask Party has reduced a focus on is keeping people out of gangs, keeping the youth out of gangs, ensuring that they're targeted for programming and that, that they don't feel like that is the only lifestyle they have as an option for them.
The government says the work they've done since 2007 has led to a more than 10-point decrease in the province's crime severity index. A Saskatchewan woman says life in prison is not enough for her sister's killer. Amanda Keewatin was stabbed to death last year by her on-again, off-again partner James Stonechild on Okanese First Nation. The couple's 2 children were home at the time. Stonechild has now been given a life sentence with no chance of parole for 10 years, but Amanda Keewatin's sister is not satisfied.
She was very loving and silly and friendly, and she was a loving mother of 2. My niece and nephew have a lifetime of trauma now. That's damaging to grow up without a mother, and then having those memories, those memories buried deep in there. My niece is there playing Barbies together, and she's like, makes one be like the daddy who is killing the mommy. you know, and no 3-year-old should know those words, you know, murder, killing, and then even something as simple as my grandma was cutting an apple. And this was 2 weeks ago, so a week before the sentencing. And she had a bread knife out and she was cutting my niece an apple. And my niece said, who is now 4, she said, "That's what daddy used on mommy." The judge had told us that we may never know why he did that, even though, you know, in his statement to us, he said that he was mentally unstable, hearing voices, and like suicidal. So, but to me, like, you know, my anger that I'm feeling, it just felt like those were just excuses, you know, and I was holding back so much anger. I like felt like my head would explode, you know. Those to me sound like excuses. They don't excuse you from what you did.
RCMP have laid additional charges from their raid on that compound and an abandoned school in Richmond. 3 people are charged with obstructing a peace officer for allegedly failing to give their names or dates of birth during their arrests. They'll appear in court in late November. Meanwhile, Romana Didalo appeared in court in Swift Current again Wednesday. A preliminary hearing for charges against the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada will start in March. A major expansion at the Saskatoon Correctional Centre is complete. The province says it will ease overcrowding in jails, but others say it won't necessarily make communities any safer. Aishwarya Duda reports.
The expanded Provincial Correctional Centre adds 312 beds for male offenders. The province says it's about safety, space, and rehabilitation.
It's going to alleviate some of the pressure within the custodial system.
McLeod says it will also make space for better programming and facilities like a kitchen, dentist office, and suites where inmates can virtually attend court. Sask Builds and Procurement will handle maintenance of the facility.
The crime is often a symptom of a different problem, and if we're addressing the underlying problem, it significantly reduces the risk that the individuals will ever come back to the correctional facility.
The province says the extra space will help modernize a system strained by rising inmate numbers. But critics argue that locking more people up doesn't always solve every problem.
I don't think particularly is an investment to make communities safer. It's to address the problem of overcrowding.
Right now, there are around 2,400 adults in custody in Saskatchewan, up from 2,200 4 years ago. We asked the province how many inmates were housed at this facility before the expansion, but they did not respond before deadline.
But whether it'll help make our streets safer, this is to be determined. And really, we believe that the right place to invest is in helping make sure people, when they leave prison, they don't come back.
Fraser says so far, the trend has been in the opposite direction.
If you build it, they will come, and we create a new jail, and it just gets full, and then we need another jail and another jail and another jail.
Fraser says investment in education and employment and access to health care and housing is what prevents crime before it happens. And until community supports are properly funded, the circle of crime and incarceration will continue. Aishwarya Duda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The Bank of Canada has lowered its benchmark interest rate by a quarter point to 2.5%. Governor Tiff Macklem says the risks have changed since the last rate decision in July as uncertainty weighs on the economy.
Business investment contracted in the second quarter. Many businesses have told us they have paused investment plans given elevated uncertainty about U.S. trade policy. Businesses are also concerned that demand in Canada will weaken as the economic fallout broadens.
Macklem says the job market has softened and a sharp drop in exports is threatening growth, while signs of inflation pressure are fading. He says the federal government's removal of most retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. will take some fuel out of inflation. It's the central bank's first rate cut since March. And the federal finance minister has announced the 2025 federal budget will be tabled November 4th.
This is going to be a generational investment in our future. We're going to build this country, Mr. Speaker.
The Liberals say the budget will include a substantial deficit as the government combats U.S. tariffs and spends heavily on defense, housing, and major projects. Ministers and departments have also been asked to find savings as part of a cost-cutting effort. Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre criticized the government for delaying the budget and what he calls reckless spending. Well, a pretty scene in Saskatoon with the fall leaves against the bridges and some good news for Bridge City motorists. All that construction on the Broadway Bridge, well, the work is almost done. It has been closed since May and is still scheduled to reopen to traffic in late October. The city has also completed 19 new link stations this year for its bus rapid transit project and is hoping to build 12 more of those before the snow flies. Thankfully, though, it does not look like that will be happening anytime soon. Weather specialist Riley Lachuk has a look at our unseasonably warm forecast after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The long grind of the Western Hockey League season begins this week. And next up, we are focusing on Saskatchewan's northernmost team, the Prince Albert Raiders. It'll be a season for familiar faces in permanent roles to make an impact. Dan Plaster has more from Prince Albert.
Behind the goal. It was a surprise late season and playoff run for the Prince Albert Raiders last spring. Ryan McDonald took over as interim head coach late in the 2024-25 season and helped the Raiders to a 5-1 mark and the East Division crown. One-timer, scores! He then guided the team past the Edmonton Oil Kings in the first round of the playoffs, but ran into the eventual WHL champion Medicine Hat Tigers in the second round. The interim tag was removed in the offseason, and McDonald is now in his first full year with the Raiders.
I think in Prince Albert here we have such a tremendous culture, and a long history of it. I was fortunate to be part of it as a player, and now as a coach, and so you really rally around that. And again, like tactically, there's a few subtle little changes that you do make, and again, looking forward to implementing some of those options.
And after a roller coaster season on the bench, the players are excited to have McDonald there, not just for training camp, but the whole season.
Yeah, it's super excited to have him coming on as full-time coach here. Last year when we had him, we were pretty successful, so we're happy to see what he can do this year.
We had so much success with him last year, and this year he's super excited to take on the head coach full-time, so I think we all are super excited as well. I think we're just going to have a great year and really continue to grow and learn from him.
Defensively, the Raiders will have one of the more exciting defensemen in the Western Hockey League. In his first year as a 16-year-old, Daxon Rudolph was one of the top-scoring D-men on the team and had a point a game in the playoffs. He's eligible for the 2026 NHL draft, but the success of the Raiders comes first.
If we're getting wins and I'm playing well, I think that's all you can ask for. That's success. Anytime you can come out on top in this league, that's definitely a win. It's a tough league and lots of competition.
Up front, there is no outright number one scorer, so we'll take a group effort led by the likes of 20-year-old forward Aiden Oiring.
I think it's super skilled. I mean, we got some older bodies and bigger bodies this year, and then the returning guys are a year older, so they're more experienced, and then we're just happy to have them back.
Like any of the smaller markets in the WHL, the Raiders take on the personality of the city, and this has led them to a lot of success over the past 5 seasons.
One of the biggest stakeholders is our community and our fans, and they show up every single day, and they root for you, they cheer for you. They're very passionate, they're very knowledgeable. Just a great community to be in.
The Raiders will kick off the season in front of those passionate fans at the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert on Friday night. Dan Plaster, CBC News, Prince Albert.
Well, the final days of summer are ticking down across the province, but that doesn't mean we're saying goodbye to the summer-like weather just yet. It is still quite nice, and weather specialist Riley Lachuk says we are likely in for more of this nice weather. He joins us now. Hi, Riley.
Well, thanks, Ethan. Certainly another rather pleasant late summer day. We don't get into fall until we get to next Monday officially, so I had to stop myself there for a second. I thought because we're at about mid-month, we would take a check on where we are temperature-wise, and not a surprise, we've seen in Regina more days above seasonal for this time of the year than days we've been at or below seasonal. So this takes us up to the end of the day on Tuesday, 10 days above seasonal for this time of the year, 6 below seasonal, and temperatures really ranging up to 30 degrees last Wednesday to some 14-degree days at the beginning of the month. So a bit of a spread through Saskatoon, much the same, although we've seen a couple of more days above seasonal in Saskatoon so far this month than Regina has had. Again, a plus 30 temperature on the board, 30.4 back last Wednesday, and 2 days where we were just barely above seasonal on the 2 Saturdays we've had in the month so far. So that just gives you a check on where we've come so far and what our temperatures have done throughout the month as well. Slightly cooler today for some of us, 21 in Regina through the afternoon hours, 21 in Saskatoon as well. Temperatures hanging around the 20s for most of South and Central, and where we have a bit of a trough in the jet stream, some cooler temperatures into parts of the north. 16 in Collins Bay, Hudson Bay at 18 through the afternoon. A couple of stray showers, maybe even a couple of stray little thunderstorms on satellite and radar throughout the afternoon hours. Other than that, really not much to see, although we still have a bit of a ridge to the west into Alberta, and that's cleared skies out into western parts of the province, and still some cloud cover hanging back on the eastern side here. And this cloud cover does come and go as we get through Wednesday into Thursday and even into Friday. There's an area of low pressure south of the border pushing up into Manitoba that could bring in some extra cloud cover, and into early Thursday evening, maybe a couple of stray showers or some drizzle as we get into the morning hours. So I am expecting maybe another round of some patchy fog through the overnight hours as we head into Thursday. Into Friday, a mix of sun and clouds, although predominantly on the cloudy side, and then maybe a few more showers rolling through. Slight chance as we get into early Saturday. What this translates into rainfall-wise, really not much. Pretty good if you're still trying to get harvest off the field. That's what we're looking for, is a stretch of dry days, although we have seen a bit more rain into the southeastern part of the province. Into the overnight hours, this takes us into Thursday morning. You can see some of that patchy fog depicted on some of the forecast modeling here, looking at Assiniboia, for example, visibility down to less than a kilometer early in the morning. So if you are driving, particularly on the Trans-Canada or on the Yellowhead, that you could run into some fog through the morning hours into Thursday. Overnight temperatures looking at 9 degrees in Saskatoon, North Battleford, 12 in Regina, and Ethan, slightly cooler, closer to seasonal as we get into the day on Thursday.
Looks good. Thank you, Riley. Well, a new immersive art installation in Montreal is drawing people in and encouraging them to explore their dreams. The two artists have built 6 enormous dream catchers. Atefa Padidar checked it out.
An open-air art installation where light, sound, and memory guide visitors on a journey. It's called Veggie Kunino.
After a dream, the lights gonna pass in the middle, and all the nightmares they're gonna stuck in the web. So it's to take time to think about that and keep in her heart the good dreams and let go the nightmares and to be better human.
As you move through each of these dream catchers, you also move through time, from pre-winter to autumn. For the artists, it's about more than seasons. It's about territory, memory, and connection. Each dream catcher becomes a doorway, blending ancestral stories with light and sound.
Imagine the travel with the ancestry person, a grandfather, old grandfather, to walk with different season and take the dream to create this installation. For me, the dream is it's the most important in my life.
In the heart of the city, these dream catchers hold more than light. They carry memory, territory, and stories that have been passed down for generations.
Here, art becomes a bridge between past and present, inviting us all to slow down and listen.
Atefa Padidar, CBC News, Montreal.
Well, you're looking at Dr. Woof, the campus robot dog at Red Deer Polytechnic. It helps students test their software skills. Dr. Woof is packed with sensors and can be programmed to dance, play badminton, even ease social isolation. Staff say it's a valuable teaching tool and a potential sign of how robotics will change classrooms and workplaces in the years ahead. Stay with us. We're back after the break. Saskatchewan's two university football teams go head-to-head on Friday for the first and only time this season. And the matchup between the University of Regina Rams and University of Saskatchewan Huskies is expected to be an exciting one. The last time both teams met was when the Rams defeated the Huskies in last season's Canada West Championship. This season, the Rams sit atop the division standings, undefeated after 3 games. One reason for that is running back Marshall Erickson, who scored 4 touchdowns in the team's season opener against Calgary. He's since become only the 6th player in U of R history to surpass 1,000 yards rushing. Erickson says the game means a lot to the fans, but the team treats it like any other match.
Just go one play at a time, one game at a time, one drive at a time. I think our whole team has that mindset right now, and we're not too worried about our past success. We're kind of just focusing on the next play, the next big play, next win.
It's unfortunate that we only play them once. We love playing them. We always get a good crowd, especially up there. And yeah, it's going to be a great game on Friday night. It's going to be a high-level football. Both teams are well coached. They got great players. We recruit the same players, and we're just excited to compete and have another week to get better.
The Huskies are coming off their first loss of the season against Manitoba. They are billing Friday's matchup as a second homecoming game. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock at Griffith Stadium.
All right, having a look at your long-range forecast now, and we are looking at a slightly cooler day as we head into Thursday and into Friday, closer to seasonal for this time of the year. That seasonal high in Regina for this time of the year, 17 degrees, 18s and 19s. Into Saturday, a slight chance of maybe a morning shower, a very slight chance if that. And then we're back up into even the high 20s by Sunday, 27 degrees. Bit of wind into Monday and Tuesday, and overnight temperatures even staying above seasonal for this time of the year, so no real risk of freezing if you still have something left in the garden. Into Saskatoon, a mix of sun and clouds into Thursday, 20 degrees again across south and central. Watch for some patchy fog into the morning hours, 22 into Friday, 25 into Saturday, 28 into Sunday. This is that real final push of some of the summer-like weather as we head into the weekend, into early next week. 26 by next Tuesday, Ethan. And again, overnight temperatures staying warm for this time of the year.
Yeah, good news for gardeners and for the farmers harvesting stuff right now. Thank you, Riley. And that is our news for this Wednesday. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. And of course, you can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.